Tina, I want you to take a deep breath before we start, because what I'm about to tell you isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up. Your blood pressure is in hypertensive crisis levels. Your glucose readings show a consistent spike that puts you at risk of type 2 diabetes. And your resting heart rate. It's concerning, to say the least. I'm not saying you're sick today, but if this continues, one day you might not wake up. And Tina, that terrifies me. Because I have seen where this path leads, and it doesn't end in a hospital bed. It ends with people saying, she was too young to go.
I didn't realize it was this bad. I thought it was just stress. Work stress, mom stress, life stress. I figured if I kept pushing, kept surviving, eventually things would calm down.
That's what everyone thinks, Tina. We are taught to wear struggle like a badge of honor. To ignore our aching joints, our headaches, the constant fatigue. We're told that pushing through makes us strong. But strength isn't about how much you can carry before you collapse. Strength is saying, enough. I need help. I need rest. I deserve better. You're a single mother, working 2 jobs, raising an incredible young boy, but you've been pouring from an empty cup for too long. And the truth is, the body keeps score. It remembers every skipped meal, every night of broken sleep, every uncried tear.
I didn't mean to forget myself. It's just, between school drop-offs, meetings, bills, barely making rent, I didn't have room to think about kale and yoga mats. There's no room for self-care when survival is the only thing on your to-do list.
I understand. Believe me, I do. But what if I told you that your survival depends on self-care? That sustainability isn't about productivity, it's about peace. You don't need a gym membership or fancy supplements. You need sleep. You need hydration. You need 10-minute walks in the morning sun. You need people who remind you to breathe. And you need to believe, truly believe, that you are not selfish for wanting to feel whole again.
Sometimes, I feel invisible, like I'm running this endless race no one is watching, and I don't know how to stop without everything falling apart.
Then let it fall, Tina. Let the perfectionism fall. Let the pressure fall. Let the guilt fall. And in its place, build something gentle. Start with water. With breathing. With asking for help. Start with choosing life, even in small, quiet ways. Because Jaden doesn't need a perfect mother. He needs a present one.
Mom, you okay?
Yeah, baby, I'm just thinking a lot.
Did something happen at the doctor's?
The doctor said I've been doing too much and not doing enough for myself.
But you're always doing things. You work so hard.
I do. I really do. But sometimes working hard isn't the same as working smart, and it definitely isn't the same as taking care of yourself.
Are you sick?
Not yet, but I could be, if I keep going like this, and that scared me, Jay, because if something happened to me, what would happen to you?
I don't know.
That's why things are going to change around here, and I need your help, okay?
Okay, what do we do?
We start by slowing down. No more skipping meals. No more eating chips for dinner because we're too tired to cook. We're gonna eat real food. Even if it's just rice and beans. We'll walk to the park every other day. 10 minutes. That's it. And at night, we're turning off screens by 8. We'll read or draw or just be together.
Like no social media?
Not every night. Just some. You can still watch funny videos, but I want us to remember what silence feels like too. You know, for a long time, I felt like I had to prove something to the world, that even though it's just you and me, I could still hold it all down. Work, bills, laundry, homework, bedtime stories. Like if I worked hard enough, no one would know how much I was struggling inside.
I didn't know you were sad, Mommy.
I didn't want you to know. I thought I was protecting you by pretending to be okay, but pretending is exhausting, and it doesn't help either of us grow. I want you to know something, Jaden. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to rest, and it's more than okay to say I can't when your body or mind needs a break. That's not weakness, that's wisdom.
I like it better when you talk to me like this.
Like what?
Like you're not hiding anything. It makes me feel like I can tell you stuff too.
Then let's promise each other something. No more pretending. No more silence. We'll be real, even when it's messy, because love isn't about keeping things perfect. It's about being honest and showing up. I used to think survival was strength, but now, I know. True strength is choosing to live on purpose, with softness, with hope, and that kind of life. It starts today.
I don't know when it started, this heaviness in my chest every morning. It's like, the moment I open my eyes, I'm already behind. Behind on energy, behind on life. And I used to be so full of it, remember, core, I'd race the sun up and challenge it to do better. Now, I just lie there and hope the day skips me.
You've been carrying this silence for so long, chica. Even when I call, you say, I'm fine, with that flat voice. But now, hearing you say this out loud, it hurts. You don't have to keep pretending. You've got me, and you've got people who care. But first, you need to care for you. Not just the outer you, the get dressed, go to work, post a story you. I'm talking about the real you. The one who hasn't laughed from her belly in months.
Chica, what you're describing is more common than you think. But the solution isn't always in pills or even therapy alone. It's in reconnecting with yourself. Your body is constantly sending you signals. Fatigue isn't just tiredness, it's communication. It says, I'm overwhelmed. It says, I haven't had clean food, rest, peace. We ignore these messages until they scream, and by then, we've taught our bodies to survive, not thrive.
But where do I begin? Every wellness coach on Instagram tells me to meditate or go vegan or wake up at 5 a.m. but I've tried. I've tried setting goals and drinking celery juice and journaling. I end up exhausted by the trying. Isn't there a simpler way? Something that feels mine?
That's the wisdom you're seeking, and it's within you. What if I told you that healing doesn't have to be this overwhelming task? What if it's as gentle as noticing when your breath shortens during stress, and choosing to breathe deeply instead? What if it starts with hydrating when you're thirsty, not when the app reminds you? Health is not an aesthetic, it's alignment. Start small. Start honest. And most importantly, start with grace.
Sis, remember when we were little and you used to make me eat bitter leaf soup because you said it would clean my blood? You always had this instinct about wellness, you just stopped trusting it when life got too loud. But you still have that wisdom. Let's find it again together. I'll cook with you, walk with you. We'll turn wellness into a ritual, not a regimen.
You two make it sound possible. Like I'm not broken, just out of rhythm.
Exactly. And rhythms can be restored. We'll explore food as medicine, yes, but also boundaries as medicine, stillness as medicine, even laughter, chica, as healing. But there's one rule, we go slow. You don't owe wellness to anyone's timeline. You owe it to your soul's pace.
Alright, then let's begin. Not with a meal plan or supplements, but with this moment. With admitting I need help. And choosing not to feel ashamed of that.
That's strength. And I'll remind you of that every day if I have to. You're not walking alone.
Everyone thinks health is just about what we eat or how often we work out. But what happens inside our heads, in the silence of our homes, in our private wars, that's health, too. I want tonight to be about honesty. About cycles. Because the hardest patterns to break are the ones we never name.
I'll go first. I used to eat only once a day, told myself I was too busy, but truth is, I was punishing myself. I didn't think I deserved care. I worked long hours, ignored the headaches, ignored the fatigue, and told myself I was strong, but I was starving in more ways than one. What changed? One day I fainted in a meeting. My body gave out before I could admit I needed help. That was my wake-up call.
I relate to that. For me, it wasn't food, it was sleep. I worked in finance. Late nights, constant pressure. Caffeine and adrenaline were my fuel. I thought sleep was for the weak, until I started hallucinating at work. Real ones, voices, shadows. I lost my job before I could admit I was broken. Now, I'm rebuilding. Sleep is sacred to me. It's not just rest, it's healing.
I didn't know I was depressed. Not really. I thought it was just life. You know, the fatigue, the numbness, the pretending. I smiled so well, even I believed it. Until my sister found my journal and begged me to see someone. I'm still learning to see myself as someone worth saving. But every meal I eat, every time I get out of bed, I count that as a win.
That's what this space is for. not perfection. Not quick fixes. Wins, small, daily, hard-won victories. To heal, we have to name our pain. Reclaim our power. Take back the narrative.
What if you don't feel strong enough?
Then borrow our strength until you find yours again. That's what community is for. There's this illusion that health is a solo journey, but it's not. We need each other, to check us when we drift, to cheer when we rise, to sit with us when we fall.
Never thought I'd be in the support circle, but here I am. And oddly, I feel more human than I have in years.
Same. It's not just the talking, it's the not having to explain yourself all the time. Just being understood.
That's healing too. Before we close, I want each of you to write down one lie you've believed about yourself, and then, underneath it, the truth you're learning now.
You're right on time. You'd be surprised how few people realize that sometimes the most healing thing they can do is just show up.
I wasn't sure I'd even come today. The old me would have stayed in bed, drowning in maybes and what ifs, but the new me, she's still shaky, still unsure, but she's here.
That's more than enough. Healing isn't perfection, Amara, it's persistence. Yoga isn't about flexibility of the body, it's about the flexibility of the spirit. Can you allow yourself grace today?
I'm learning to. I've been at war with myself for so long. My body, my choices, my worth. It's exhausting carrying the weight of judgment, especially when it's your own voice whispering, you're not enough.
That voice? It lies. It stems from pain, not truth. Let's quiet it together today. Through breath, through stillness, through being. No expectations, no comparisons, just presence.
I didn't know you practiced yoga.
Just started. Trying to rebuild after my breakdown last year. The world outside looked at me like a success. Inside, I was collapsing. Addiction, isolation, self-hate. I hit rock bottom hard.
I had no idea. You always seemed so strong, confident.
Funny, isn't it? The masks we wear. My mind told me I had to hustle harder, smile wider, carry more. But when my body finally gave out, panic attacks, sleepless nights, chest pains, I realized strength isn't about hiding weakness, it's about embracing it.
The body never lies. It speaks in whispers at first. Fatigue, headaches, restlessness. But if we ignore it, it screams.
That's what happened to me. I collapsed on my kitchen floor one morning. My heart was racing, my thoughts spiraling, and I couldn't breathe. I thought I was dying. Turned out, I was just burnt out from pretending.
I know that feeling. I went from being everyone's inspiration to becoming my own cautionary tale. But then I realized, maybe my breakdown was a breakthrough in disguise.
That's the truth most people miss. In the ashes of who we were, lies the blueprint of who we can become. Each breath you take today is a rebellion against the lies you've believed.
So what now? Do we just keep showing up?
Exactly. One breath at a time. One choice at a time. Some days I still wake up with doubts, but I choose to show up anyway. I choose to believe that healing isn't about returning to who I was. It's about becoming someone new, someone lighter, freer, more honest.
Let this space be sacred. Let it be the place where your body and mind reconnect, where shame dissolves, and where self-love is no longer a stranger.
I think I'm ready. Not perfect, but ready.
That's all we ever need to be.
I'm glad you joined us today, Lamide. Everyone here has walked through shadows and come out seeking light. That's what makes this space sacred. It's real. Tell us what brought you here.
I almost didn't come. I thought I had it all figured out. Money, status, my fitness app trending on socials. But I was falling apart. I couldn't sleep without pills. I couldn't wake up without stimulants. My doctor warned me 3 times, and I ignored it. It wasn't until I fainted during a live stream that I realized this wasn't success. It was slow suicide with the mask on. I kept telling myself, just one more campaign, one more launch. But what's the point of influence if your body is breaking down and your mind feels like it's on fire every morning? I came here because I want to stop lying to myself. I kept comparing myself to others. I was always measuring myself against people who didn't know I existed. My diet wasn't balanced, my mind wasn't still, my heart wasn't at peace. I was living to impress, not to live.
And now you're here. That's not failure. That's bravery. The world sells us a toxic idea of perfection. Flawless skin, endless energy, a six-pack and a smile. But real health? It's complex. It's boundaries. It's being able to say no. It's nourishing your soul as much as your body.
I want to rebuild, not just detox my body, but detox my thoughts. I need to learn how to listen to myself again.
You're in the right place. I was where you are last year. I used to eat clean and still felt like garbage. Why? Because I hadn't addressed the bitterness inside me. My workouts were punishing, not healing. My rest was guilt-ridden. This place, these people, gave me back my breath.
Do you ever feel like you're starting too late?
All the time. But then I remember, the tree that shades us today wasn't planted yesterday. It took years. And it still bends with the wind. Healing is not about speed. It's about presence.
Lamai, tonight you made the most important investment of your life. Not in crypto, not in tech, not in clout, but in wholeness. Everyone here is proof that healing is possible. That belief in yourself, no matter how faint, is the spark we build everything on.
I want to believe again, in me.
Then let's start there.
I can't stop thinking about how long I've performed for people who never clapped for me. All my life, I've tried to prove I was worthy of respect, of recognition, of love. I crafted an identity built on achievements, but inside, I feel like a house of cards.
That's not unusual. So many of us walk around wearing excellence like armor, thinking if we're impressive enough, maybe we won't feel invisible. But true health starts when we remove the armor, and see what needs healing underneath.
For me, that armor was my smile. I could light up a room, post perfect morning routines, inspire thousands, but the moment I turned off my camera, I collapsed. Anxiety used to wake me up at 3 a.m., no alarm, just fear.
That's the part no one talks about. The crash after the applause. The emptiness when the screen goes black. I wish someone had told me that burnout doesn't just drain your energy, it warps your reality. I stopped trusting my own instincts.
Because self-doubt feeds on silence. When you're isolated, it becomes your loudest companion. I remember one night, I sat in my car outside the gym and just froze. Couldn't go in, couldn't go home. I realized I wasn't afraid of failure, I was afraid of being seen failing.
And yet you showed up. That's the sacred shift. Showing up, even when your inner voice is whispering that you're not enough. Lamai, your story matters, not because it's polished, but because it's yours. Real healing doesn't need an audience, it needs truth.
It's just hard to rewire everything, to believe I can exist without the hustle, without performing. I'm afraid I won't recognize myself without the pressure.
You'll discover parts of yourself you never knew existed. I used to think my worth was in my productivity. How many meals I prepped, how many miles I ran, how many posts I schedule. But when I stopped, I found poetry, music, silence. I found me.
And it's okay if that discovery feels like grief at first. You're mourning the image you built, but that's the price of truth. And the gift is peace.
I want peace more than I want praise now. I want mornings that start with stillness, not stats. I want meals that nourish, not punish. I want rest without guilt. I want a life.
Then let that be your compass. Every decision, every boundary you set, every habit you shape, let it point toward peace. This isn't a sprint, it's a slow, sacred rebuilding.
For the first time, I believe that's possible.
You're not alone. None of us are. And when the old thoughts come back, because they will, we remind each other who we are.
To wholeness, not perfection.
To wholeness.
To wholeness.
To wholeness.
To wholeness.
To wholeness.